I've owned, shot, and torn apart more revolvers than I can count, some legendary, some honestly embarrassing. So I sat down and ranked every major brand, from dead last to the top spot. Some of these rankings might surprise you. One of them might make you want to fight me. Let's start at the bottom. Number 10. Colt sets the stage for the Resurrection markup game. The reintroduced Python retails between $1,300 and $1,500, and the marketing leans on one word repeated like a prayer: legendary. Yet the modern Python is not the hand-fitted royal blue masterpiece of 1965. Strip away the roll marks and put the parts on a bench, and the story falls apart. The original Pythons were assembled by craftsmen who spent days fitting each action, polishing internals to a mirror, tuning lockwork by feel. The 2020 Revival is a CNC production gun with simplified internals, a redesigned action built for manufacturing speed, and small parts sourced the same way every mid-tier revolver sources them. The machining is competent. That has never been the question. The question is what the extra $600 over a comparable stainless revolver is buying. And here is the detail most buyers never learn. The company selling you American revolver heritage is owned by CZG, the Czech holding group that acquired Colt in 2021 for $220 million, after bankruptcy had already hollowed the company out once. The snake on the barrel is real. Number 9. Kimber. Built its revolver reputation the same way it built its 1911 empire, on photography. The K6's retails between $900 and $1,050, positioned as the world's finest small-frame revolver, and the gun looks every dollar of it. Brushed stainless, clean lines, the smallest cylinder in its class. Now open it up. The fire control components lean on the same cost-efficient manufacturing processes found in revolvers selling for half the price. And the action, praised in every glossy review, is a good production trigger, not a tuned one. Understand what that price bracket promises. At $1,000, a revolver buyer expects hand-finished internals. Kimber delivers a well-marketed production gun with a premium polish and a magazine advertising budget folded directly into the sticker. Read that again. You are paying for the photo shoot that convinced you to buy it. The K6's is not a bad revolver. It shoots, it carries, it conceals. But a Ruger SP-101 does the same job for $400 less, and the difference between them is not machining hours. Number 8. Chiappa's Rhino is the clearest case of a revolver priced by screen time rather than function. Retail sits between $1,000 and $1,400, depending on barrel length, and the futuristic hexagonal profile climbs higher in special finishes. The engineering hook is genuine. The Rhino fires from the bottom chamber of the cylinder, dropping the bore axis into the web of your hand and cutting muzzle flip dramatically. That part is real physics. But look at what the rest of the money buys. The internals are a maze of small parts and flat springs that gunsmiths openly dislike working on. The double-action trigger is heavy and stacked, and the fit and finish is ordinary Italian production, not precision boutique work. What carries the price is the silhouette. The Rhino has appeared across science fiction films, streaming series and video game franchises, and every appearance functions as unpaid advertising that gets converted into sticker price. Chiappa understands exactly what it is selling: an image of the future with lockwork from the past. The verdict: you are paying for a prop with a serial number, and the screen time is baked into the sticker. Number 7. Smith & Wesson presents the strangest case on this list, a company charging heritage prices while quietly engineering the heritage out. A Model 686 retails between $850 and $950. A Model 29, the Dirty Harry gun, pushes past $1,000. The names are legendary, and the legend is doing heavy lifting, because the modern guns are not built like the guns that made the names. The firing pins moved from the hammer, The internals shifted to metal injection molded components, powdered metal in a polymer binder, chosen because it costs a fraction of machined bar stock. And then there is the lock. Since 2001, most Smith & Wesson revolvers ship with an internal locking mechanism drilled into the frame above the cylinder release. A feature shooters never asked for, collectors actively avoid, and the used market punishes. Pre-lock Smith & Wessons now sell for more than new ones. Let that sink in. The market has priced the company's own modern production below its past. Let this be clear. The revolvers still work. The K-frame and L-frame architecture remains excellent. But you are paying 1980s craftsmanship prices for cost-reduced modern production, and the roll mark is covering the difference. What's left is a legendary name billing you for work it no longer does. Number 6. Korth sets the ultimate bar for markup in the revolver world. The German company's revolvers start around $3,500, run past $5,000 for standard models, and climb toward $10,000 for presentation pieces. The machining is genuinely exceptional. Frames cut from solid billet, cylinders that lock like bank vaults, triggers adjustable to the gram, tolerances held to standards most factories cannot measure. None of that is in dispute. But here is the uncomfortable math. A Ruger GP100, tuned by a competent gunsmith, with a polished action and fitted parts, costs $1,200 all in and will shoot to the mechanical limit of the cartridge. That is the ceiling of practical performance. Past that number, a revolver does not group tighter, cycle smoother, or last longer in any way a shooter can use. Korth's pricing above that line is not buying additional performance. It is buying exclusivity, hand polishing, presentation cases lined like jewelry boxes, and the deliberate positioning of a firearm as a luxury artifact. The marketing language confirms it. Heirloom, functional art, investment. A revolver that shoots no tighter than one costing a quarter of its price is not a tool at that point. It is a status object with a cylinder. This is the most egregious spread on the list. Verdict. Past a certain number, every additional dollar buys prestige, not precision. Number 5. Taurus opens the honest half of this list with the most improved manufacturing story in the industry. The Taurus 856 retails between $330 and $400. The Defender line under $450, and the old jokes about Brazilian quality control are running a decade behind the reality. Here is what changed. Taurus moved its American operation into a new manufacturing facility in Bainbridge, Georgia, in 2019, modernized its production lines, and tightened quality control while holding prices that undercut the big names by half. The company is vertically integrated in a way few competitors match, producing its own barrels, cylinders, and small parts, instead of paying supplier margins on every component. And that integration is exactly why an 856 can retail at $350, while a comparable name-brand snub costs $700. The engineering follows proven paths rather than expensive experiments. Small frame architecture refined across decades, simple lockwork, forgiving maintenance. And the warranty is lifetime, transferable, and honored. For the buyer, the math is direct. 2 Taurus revolvers cost less than one legacy brand equivalent, and the difference on a 15-yard target is invisible. Function per dollar. The gap between Taurus and the brands above it has never been thinner, and the price gap has never been wider. Number 4. Charter Arms is what a revolver company looks like when the marketing department never gets hired. The Bulldog in .44 Special retails between $380 and $440. The Undercover in .38 Special sits near $350. And the entire operation runs out of Shelton, Connecticut, family-owned, building revolvers and nothing else since 1964. Consider what that focus means. No pistol lines competing for engineering budget, no tactical division, no lifestyle campaigns. One product category, refined for 60 years. The design itself is quietly clever. Charter frames are machined, so the hammer and trigger ride in a one-piece frame rather than a side plate design, which adds rigidity, and the barrels are pinned rather than sleeved. The finish is plain. The grips are functional. The gun is not photogenic, and the company does not care, because every dollar not spent on polish shows up as a lower number on the tag. The Bulldog delivers 44 Special from a 21-ounce carry gun at a price the legacy brands charge for 38. There is no legend to pay for here, no century of folklore marked up and resold. A working revolver from a company that only makes working revolvers. What you pay is what you get. Number 3. Rock Island Armory rewrites the entry-level playbook the same way it did with 1911's. Volume, simplicity, and a factory that answers to output instead of image. The M206 snub-nose retails between $250 and $300, and the M200 service revolver often sells for less. Read that number again. A functioning, warranted, all-steel, 38. Special revolver for the price of a mid-tier holster and ammunition setup. The guns come out of Armscore's massive facility in Marikina, Philippines, one of the highest volume small arms plants in the world, producing under contracts where guns are accepted on function testing, not finish quality. The finish, to be clear, is basic. Parkerized surfaces, simple wood or polymer grips, tool marks visible if you go looking. The trigger is a working trigger, not a tuned one. But the frames are steel, the timing is correct, the cylinders lock up, and the guns digest standard pressure .38 indefinitely. Every layer that quietly adds $100 to a conventional revolver, the brand licensing, the layered distribution, the advertising budget, has been stripped out and the savings pass straight to the buyer. Rock Island did not reinvent the revolver. It reinvented the price. This is what a revolver costs when the brand machine is removed and only the factory remains. Number 2. Heritage Manufacturing delivers the single lowest barrier to revolver ownership in the entire market. The Rough Rider, a single-action rimfire built in the American South under the Taurus corporate umbrella, retails between $130 and $180. Consider what that number means. A new, warranted, American-assembled revolver for less than a family dinner out, at a price point no other manufacturer on Earth will touch. The engineering choices are deliberate and honest. An aluminum alloy frame instead of forged steel, because a .22 does not need forged steel. Simple single-action lockwork, with 100-year-old design logic, because simple mechanisms survive neglect. Interchangeable cylinders that swap between .22 LR and .22 Magnum for about $30 more, doubling the gun's utility for pocket change. Nobody at Heritage claims this is a precision instrument. The company sells it as exactly what it is: a training gun, a trail gun, a first revolver, a Saturday afternoon plinker. And that honesty is the point. Millions of shooters learn trigger discipline and sight alignment on a Rough Rider for the cost of a single box of premium defensive ammunition elsewhere on this list. No legend, no folklore, no markup hiding in the roll marks. The cheapest gun on this list is also one of the most honestly priced products in the entire firearms industry. And finally, in first place, Ruger delivers the most honest price-to-function ratio in the revolver market. And it does so with a manufacturing method its competitors spent decades mocking. Ruger builds its frames through investment casting, pouring molten steel into precision molds instead of machining forgings, a process the legacy brands dismissed as cheap, right up until Ruger's revolvers proved harder to break than theirs. The GP100 retails between $700 and $800. The SP101 sits near $650. The LCR, with its polymer fire control housing and friction-reducing cam trigger, runs $550 to $650. And every one of them is famously, almost comically overbuilt, with cylinder walls and frame dimensions that digest full-power Magnum loads for decades. The books are open. Ruger is a publicly traded company, and its quarterly filings show the story in plain numbers. Modest margins, enormous volume, continuous reinvestment into American plants in Arizona, New Hampshire, and North Carolina. There is nowhere to hide a hype premium in a balance sheet that public.